Hi, guys, and welcome to our final chapter of our Triple Canyon 2.0 build. Uh, it's been fun, and I've enjoyed sharing this with you over the past, I don't know, 2 months now going on. Uh, I hope what I've shared, somebody out there has picked up, learned something, and said, oh, I can use that for doing my module or applying it to my home layout, uh, whatever, that people do both. I mean, obviously you can see behind me, I have a home HO layout, and I also do the N scale modules, which is like having a layout that you can take down, put back together, and quite honestly rearrange, um, because you can move modules in different configurations. So without further ado, I think we should get to it, and uh, I'll give you the usual plugs. Please like, share, subscribe, comments. The last time I did the Jurassic Park single, I got a lot of great comments, suggestions, uh, things that excuse me, breakfast, um, things that might, become something in the future. It's hard to say. But like I said, without further ado, let's switch to the Handycam, and pardon the mess, but here we go. We're going to start at this end. Okay, so here's the original single module that we did. Oh wow, this is way back, I guess in the May June time frame. I guess it was June I did this. This was finished up. Uh, but it kind of goes with, well, it should, our next module here, and we got scoot over with the Handycam. So here's our triple module, and as far as I'm concerned, it's got to be complete. Okay, so we're doing a quick little scan here. Let's just see everything in its glory. There's our helicopter, and let me extend this out so we can move in, and you can see everything. So there's our helicopter. Oh, excuse me. And I elected not to put anything down this side as of now. We talked about maybe adding a waterfall. That's still, the more I just watched the movie last night again, and it's bugging me. I'm thinking I may add in the extra little waterfall. I mean, people, you watch the original movie Jurassic Park, and they do this scene where they're flying in on the helicopter. There is this big main part, but there's also over in this section over in here, there is a small another waterfall that comes down the side and spills into the same area. So, still kicking it around. But as of right now, it would go. Okay, it would fly. Not the helicopter. So here's our helipad, and lo and behold, the LEDs do light up, and it works. It looks great to me, anyway. So let's get a closer look down below here, and you can see there's our completed waterfall. The water runs out to the edge of the module. We have our two Jeeps, and they're standing by, ready to go. And we'll come over here. We got a little bit of growth coming up the side of the bridge. Yes, there was no bridge. Obviously, there was no railroad there. But I figured the jungle is trying to take over a little bit. So we got some going on here on the sides. And then we come over and the rest of the bridge has some weathering because, hey, it's hot and it's humid, so they're going to get some rust. So we're going to come up along on this side. And you can see here are palm trees. That's the other module right there. So come along here. There's our rock face. And I did cover it with some more ground cover. Come along over here. Once again, there's our helicopter and the waterfall. And here's our forest on the other side and the hillside, and it comes down to over here. Now I did test this out, and obviously you can see my test locomotive sitting there. Everything operates as it should. The train goes right across it, no problems. For those of you who wanted to see, here's the what the completed ballast looked like. Okay, we left off where I was doing this end, and so you can see it's very hard, not going anywhere. So that technique does work. So I'm just going to pan across here so you can see what it actually looks like. And it took about a day, I'm going to say, to dry out. So if you do this, putting the ballast along the side of it, if you're using just the straight glue, it'll set up a lot quicker. But since I went in the middle and used the water it down first to get the surface wet, break the surface tension, and then go over it with the diluted glue. The glue part, it's going to take the better part of a day. But once it dries, it's fine. I mean, like I said, it's you can see this is, you can hear that. That's solid as a rock. I mean, that's not going to go anywhere. And I left the ends intentionally, because I don't want any kind of interference with the next module. So I've done that on both ends. So there's no chance that it's going to interfere with how it connects to the next module. That's just a habit I picked up. And really, nobody really looks that hard at the ends. So when you have it out on a display somewhere, it'll be fine. Now down here, this was another thing that I added since our last episode. This is just some lichen, and it just glued down with straight glue. Same thing over here on the sides. But then I went and added some of our diluted glue mixture and just kind of drizzled it and sprayed it with some water over the top of it. And then just took the same green, a bag of green ground cover that we used up on this area. I went over it and then sprayed it again so that it would sink in. And that scenery isn't going anywhere. It's just fine. So I'm really happy with the helipad. That really turned out nice. And I really like how this looks. I mean, like if you're looking at it, like this would be about where you would see it on if you were walking around looking at modules. It's sitting a little bit lower maybe than you would like a normal table would be. Like it's probably sitting down like 2 or 3 inches maybe, because these are just TV trays that it's sitting on. The things that you would sit there and while you're working or eating, watching TV. The little tables. You see, that's what I'm talking about. Uh, so they do sit a little bit lower than a normal table, but not a lot, maybe an inch or two. Um, so this would be, if you were looking at it, I'd say right about here somewhere, that would probably be your view. And honestly, I mean, you really have to get down and look to see the paperclip. So it's concealed pretty well. I mean, if you're coming from this side, it's not very easy to pick out. So I kind of like to leave people hanging with that one. You know, how'd you do that? It's like, well, figure it out. Okay, but that's our module. Okay, and like I said, you guys have any comments, questions, whatever? Um, Let me switch back here. Oh, we gotta get back to a different camera. And we'll go back to this one. Okay, so that's our module. And we're going to keep it short and sweet today because that's really all there is to cover with it. And we are at another end of another build. So it's great that we're done, but it's also sad because now we got nothing to do. So we'll see what the future brings. Who knows? I'd like to do more, but honestly, running out of room. Okay, so I don't know how many more I'm going to be building. I have some ideas of some things. I have a lot of projects on the HO layout that need my attention that I've just been ignoring for probably the last 2 years, to be honest. A lot of it is scenery work. I don't really have a lot of track work left to do. I mean, there's some, but there's not a lot. So, and who knows what the future of the HO layout's going to be. You know, and how extensive it's going to be. There'll always be up above here. That's always going to stay there because that was a lot of work and a lot of effort during COVID, and quite honestly, a lot of money. So we're just going to leave that one the way it is, and the displays that you see back here with all the locomotives and stuff like that, that's always going to stay. But this lower layout, who knows? Like I said, we will see what the future brings because the end scale is starting to grow on me, so to speak, as far as itching to operate. And it's grown so big it won't fit in my little room anymore. So we'll see what happens there. But at any rate, that's all I got for you today. So, like I said, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and I will catch you in our next one. Take care, guys.